Well, Danielle Bean is familiar to Catholic TV viewers as one of the co-hosts of The Gist and her Blink series, which she does. And today she joins us to talk about her recent book from Ascension Press titled Whisper. Danielle, thanks for being with us. Always a pleasure to have you on.
Oh, thanks for having me. I'm always glad to join you on Catholic TV.
You were just here.
I know.
We miss you.
You can probably still smell the hairspray from the green room during Gist Week.
Well, we have to say that when you ladies are here, it is a lot, let's say, louder.
Yeah, we bring a little bit of energy.
You certainly do, and it's wonderful. Well, in these contemporary times, it seems as if loud is the order of the day. So tell us about the intriguing title of your book, which is called Whisper.
Yeah, so the title, I think, is, like you said, it's a noisy world, and there's a lot of busyness and distraction in our world today. So Whisper is a little bit countercultural. And so what I like about the title is that it really does speak to the book's content, which is all about finding God in the everyday and the ways in which God is always inviting us into relationship with him, always present, even when we don't realize or recognize or take the time to pause and recognize his presence in our everyday lives. He is present and he's inviting us. And what I like about the word whisper is that if someone whispers to you, that's sort of an invitation, right? To lean in, to focus. And this is what God does. He doesn't shout. Oftentimes, sometimes you'll read in the Bible, God is a voice from a cloud in the sky. But that doesn't happen for most of us. That isn't how most of us experience God and his communication to us. It's more in subtle, everyday ways, small ways that he's whispering to us through our everyday experiences. And that's part of what I detail in the book, sharing my stories in the hopes that it'll encourage and inspire other people to see God's presence in their stories as well.
And Danielle, your work has really made a priority of encouraging women to relish their dignity, to embrace their vocation. How does Whisper advocate just for that?
Yeah. So my work always is, like you said, always focused on supporting women, the different kind of ministries that I'm involved in at CatholicMom.com, my own work in different books that I've done, always focused on that ministry of toward women. And this book is no different, even though guys are allowed to read it. I know that Jay's going to read this book, right? As a fan of The Gist, you're going to read this book, but it's not really just geared toward women. But I think there is a special message for women here because women are so busy and so distracted, moms in particular, going in 100 different directions. And, thanks be to God for the beautiful work that women do in their homes, in their workplaces, in our churches, in our communities every day. But that comes at a cost. It's hard. It takes a toll on us physically, spiritually, emotionally to be constantly going, constantly busy, pulled in different directions, to have that constant noise and distraction in our lives. So this book is really an invitation to women to sit down, to ponder, to spend a moment in quiet and open up your heart to hear what God might be speaking to you.
And Sonia Corbett, another Catholic TV host, offered a great endorsement of the book, saying that it allowed her to find God in the broken pieces of life. So tell us about this approach of finding intimate moments of grace.
Yeah. So I loved what Sonia shared about her reflection on the book, and I'm such a fan of hers. So I'm so thrilled that she offered that review of the book. But she was talking about sort of finding God in everyday experiences from a chapter where I talked about finding God in our brokenness and some of the ways that life in big and small ways can disappoint us, can hurt us, can leave us feeling disappointed or discouraged, and that God is waiting there in those moments. He's waiting to connect with us inside of some of the ways that we might suffer, but also inside of some of the small joys of every day. This is the challenge. Even, secular society will tell you, you need to pause, you need to smell the roses, you need to take a moment and really experience the joy that's right before you, or the connection in relationships, the beauty of the everyday moments in your life. And yet there really is a spiritual message for us here too. This is what God is inviting us to do, to slow down, to turn off the noise, to sit at his feet. Like you think about that gospel story with Mary and Martha, where Mary is seated at our Lord's feet. What a beautiful witness that is, to being focused on our Lord. And that's the calling for every one of us. She's chosen the better part. So even if we're busy and even if we're distracted, God is always calling on us, at least interiorly, to be seated at his feet, focused on him, focused on relationship over anything that we might accomplish or do. All of our to-do lists are never as important as that.
And you, Danielle, are a busy person, a wife, a mother, an author, and all the other stuff that you do. How do you personally find time to and the space to allow God to whisper to you in your faith life?
Yeah, well, I think the first thing is to be aware of the fact that we need that. And from there can come that making it a priority in your daily schedule. So I always tell people, I understand, like if you're a busy mom, like I get that. Like I've been there. And people, even people who aren't moms, are busy. We have work, we have obligations, we have family that we're taking care of. All of these things are important that we're doing, but we do need to have time every day that's devoted to prayer. So even if it's just 5 minutes, I encourage people, take 5 minutes. Everybody has 5 minutes. Even if you're a mom and like toddler's going to distract you 10 times inside of those 5 minutes, you still have the 5 minutes. There's no excuse for not sitting and doing it, sitting in silence. And sometimes in our world, I think we're afraid of that silence. We kind of distract ourselves with busyness and noise and distraction in ways that aren't healthy for us, in ways that God doesn't want for us. And so it really can be a bold thing to do. If you don't already have this in place in your life, begin with just 5 minutes where you're going to sit in silence and open yourself up to sitting in the presence of God and hearing what he might want to speak to you.
Well, Danielle, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. Can you tell us how people can follow your work and also get a copy of Whisper?
Sure. So for all of my work in the different kind of ministries that I work in, you can go to DanielleBean.com. My full-time work, though, is with CatholicMom.com. I would love to encourage everybody to come and join our community there. Beautiful, faith-filled community of women encouraging and supporting each other in the vocation of Catholic motherhood. And then finally, you can get the book at AscensionPress.com. Of course, it's available at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, all those other places, but supporting small Catholic publishers is really important to do in today's world, too.
Danielle, always a pleasure. Have a great day, and can't wait to see the new season of The Gist.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
Bye.
Thank you.